This is He Knows His Sport, bringing you that heat and that fire. All right, man. I couldn't get, you know what I'm saying, what I should say as a sports rant live talk Monday through Friday in, but I say, you know what? Let me get a quick video in real quick. You know what I'm saying? Because I gotta head back to work. But anyways, on to the video. Whew, Gary Russell Jr., man, I'm loving this dude right here. He calling everybody out. Tevin Farmar, Gervonta Tank Davis, you name it. Leo Santa Cruz. He wants that work. You know what I'm saying? He want that work. That whip it work. I like that, man. I saw him sparring, you know what I'm saying? Shout outs to Fighter IQ. It's a channel that's, gonna come on the rise real quick. You know what I'm saying? They getting real good footage of fighters and stuff like that. You guys should check them out. You know what I'm saying? Because I like to support other channels that are strictly focusing on the craft, the sweet science. But Gary Russell Jr., man, that dude is barking. He's making noise. He wants those fights. You know, you guys heard me say it on the live streams before in the past. That's the fight that I want to see, that DMV fight between Gary Russell Jr. and Gervonta Tank Davis. You know what I'm saying? DC versus Maryland. DC versus B More. That's what I want to see, man. I've been clamoring for that fight. I said that's a step up fight for Gervonta Tank Davis. And if he could, you know what I'm saying, get Gary Russell Jr. ass out of there via TKO stoppage and do it in emphatic fashion, now we have a fight that we can gauge between him and Loma. And then we could see where he's at in the barometer. You know what I'm saying? Where he's at. You know what I'm saying? That way we can test his temperature. That's a test your temperature type of fight. Because Gary Russell Jr. is not no lay down type of fighter. Plus, I still believe he has the fastest hand speed in boxing. I'm going to say it again. I still believe he has the fastest hand speed in boxing. I think in that fight when Loma fought him, Loma timed him because Loma couldn't outspeed him. You know what I'm saying? When I went back and looked at the tail of the tape of that fight, Loma was like, I'm not going to outspeed you. If I try to get into this war with you, I'm going to lose because clearly your hands are the fastest for a reason. Gary Russell Jr. was trying to bait him into a speed game. Loma was like, there's gears to this, man. I have the most accomplished amateur background for a reason. And Loma timed his ass. Remember, what beats speed? Timing. What beats speed again? Timing. Great boxers have proven this. Mayweather proved this against Manny Pacquiao, man. You know what I'm saying? Terrence Boyd Crawford proved it against Amir Khan. Even though Amir Khan was 5 years too late. Amir Khan tried to go in there with the same game plan. I'm going to try to outspeed him. That's how you beat speed, man. You beat it with timing. And that's what happened in that fight, man. Lomachenko timed his ass and got his ass out of there. So much so to the point that Gary Russell Jr. is still butthurt from that loss he got from Loma, man. You know what I'm saying? He's kind of still in denial about that. And I get it. You know what I'm saying? It was a big fight. You know what I'm saying? And the fashion in which he lost, you know, he probably still got nightmares over that. But that's neither here nor there. We're going to put Loma to bed. We talking about Gervonta Tank Davis. We talking about Leo Santa Cruz. And we talking about Tevin Farmar. These are the fights that I feel that Gary Russell Jr. should have. Obviously, with Tevin Farmar, that's a whole different side of the block. You know what I'm saying? You talking about Eddie Herman and you talking about Matchroom Sports. But I think that fight is easier to be made than Gervonta Tank Davis and Leo Santa Cruz. It's just, you know, especially with the recent, you know, spat that Gary Russell came out and he was running his mouth against Al Heyman, you know what I'm saying, PBC, and how Al Heyman is running PBC, you know what I'm saying, and how Heyman is having his fighters, you know, fight a certain way and, you know, picking and choosing their opponents, things of that nature, et cetera, et cetera. That wasn't a good look on him. You know, it's not like Gary Russell Jr. is a big name. See, if he was a big name and he ran with that rhetoric, he would still be able to kind of get off and get a fight. Even then, we see names like Terrence Boyd Crawford. Look what's happening. Because of his promoter, Bob Arum, and them running their mouths, the Earl the Truth Spence fight is not happening as fast as it should. So if I was Gary Russell Jr., that's probably the only thing, if I was in his camp or around his circle, I would advise him not to do. I would be like, look here, man. Higgity fucking hush and don't run your fucking mouth, man. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Just be that fighter and call out the fight and let the fight be made accordingly. I wouldn't be sitting there and just clamoring for it so much to the point where I position myself out of that fight. Because let's keep it real. Even though that's the realistic and the good fight for Gervonta Davis to do, it's not necessarily the fight that he has to have. It would be considered, you know what I'm saying, a duck move if Gervonta Tank Davis don't take the fight. But at the same time, if he were to go the Tevin Farmer route, then he's bailed out by that. You know what I'm saying? So there's options for Gervonta Tank Davis. It's not like, oh, it's Gary Russell, end all, be all. But I would want, if I was a Gervonta Tank Davis and I was really pushing for my career, I would want him to fight a Tevin Farmer first, beat the shit out of him, TKO stoppage his ass, because I believe that's how that fight's going to go. Especially with Tevin Farmer running his mouth, getting slide to the mouth, calling the dude fat. And he has every right to call him that because Gervonta Tank Davis is one of those guys that blow up. You know, he's a big boy for his size. He blows up in weight, you know what I'm saying, tremendously. So he's not disciplined between fights. So I would like to see that fight, that beef get squabbled. And then after that fight, I want to see Gervonta Tank Davis step it up because I do believe that Gary Russell Jr. to me is a little better than a Tevin Farmer. Step it up and then fight a Gary Russell Jr. And then after that fight, if you do TKO stoppage Gary Russell Jr., that would be a litmus test for you. It will be a test the temperature type of fight. If you get by him and TKO stoppage him, then you line yourself up for the Loma fight. That's the way that I would do it. If I was Mayweather Promotions, that's the way that I would run Tank Davis's career. I've been saying this. I've been quoted saying this multiple times on my live streams. But he's with Mayweather Promotions, you know what I'm saying? And I think universally we all agree that they're not running his, you know what I'm saying, career the right way. Floyd Mayweather is picking and choosing when Gervonta Tank Davis should fight. He's a very inactive fighter. He's only fighting once a year. You know, and Gary Russell Jr., man, it's sad to say, but him being a free agent, independent contractor, that's not helping him, especially with him only fighting once a year. We need to see more of Gary Russell Jr. as well. I feel that if Gary Russell Jr. wants to get the fights that he wants, you know, and it's going to be weird coming from me, I think he needs to join with Matchroom Sports, man. I think they'll make sure his ass is fighting 3 to 4 times a year. I'm going to say that again. I think Gary Russell Jr. should sign a contract with Matchroom Sports, and they'll have his ass fight 3 to 4 times a year. You know what I'm saying? I mean, hey, we could call, you know, the Hearns indentured servitude traders, because that's what they are, indentured servitude traders. But they make sure they fighters fight, boy. Tevin Farmer, I mean, come on. Look at the calendar year he had versus Gervonta Tank Davis. He fought like 4 to 5 times versus Gervonta Tank Davis only 1. I mean, that's just ridiculous. So if Gary Russell Jr. wants to fight, Matchroom Sports is where it's at for him at this point in his career. Because clearly he burned that bridge with Al Heyman, PBC. He would have to, whatever he did publicly, he would have to come back publicly and rescind all of that in order for him to get another chance. But I feel like that bridge has been burned. And I wouldn't advise him to go the top rank route because they're going to treat him like dog shit. I would say to go the Matchroom Sports route because he'll get the fights that he wants. And Eddie Hearn's going to push for it. That's my take on it. But I like that. I like how Gary Russell Jr. is doing his best to try to shake things up because he needs to fight one of those guys. The dream fight that I want is that DMV fight between him and Gervonta Tank Davis. And if that fight can happen, whoo, Leo Santo Cruz is now on neither one of these guys' levels. Tevin Farmer will give him a boxing lesson. Gervonta Tank Davis will knock his ass out. And Gary Russell Jr. will be just too fast for him. Leo Santo Cruz has that come forward Mexican style that's tailor-made to be embarrassed, exposed, demolished, and trounced. I'm going to say it again. He has that Mexican come forward style that's tailor-made to be embarrassed, exposed, demolished, and trounced. But I love it. Gary Russell Jr., keep that shit up. This is He Knows the Sport. Checking out.